The mysterious second special celebrating Doctor Who's 60th anniversary has arrived. From the cryptic promotion to it being largely shot within a studio, we come to this episode knowing alarmingly little. Anything could happen to the Doctor and Donna, as they're left stranded in a mysterious alien environment. There's quite a lot of hype directed at this week's episode. Fan theories have thrown everything at the wall just to see what sticks. From returning characters to all manner of cameos and old monsters, fans expecting everything in this episode. But just how do those theories hold up to the reality of Russell T Davies's Wild Blue Yonder? Warning, this is our full review of the second anniversary special, Wild Blue Yonder. As such, all manner of spoilers will be discussed. If you've not seen the episode, you probably want to go into the episode as blind as the team here at TARDIS Central. As such, all manner of spoilers will be discussed. If you've not seen the episode, and you want to go into the episode as blind as the team here at TARDIS Central, you should probably turn away. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Greetings everyone, I'm Jeremy, and welcome to TARDIS Central. I'm taking over from Jack for this week's Doctor Who review, as he is currently ill and therefore regenerating. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Doctor Who news, lore, and more, then hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at TARDIS Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. It's one of those episodes where your thoughts and theories are welcome. Get commenting! Given everything we know about this episode being tied to an alien ship, the episode opening in England in 1666 was a lovely surprise. It's a rather silly and goofy little surprise of a sketch compared to the almost horror episode that follows. Given that this episode was shot outside, it's surprising that the almost too observant set watchers saw none of this. A nice little surprise, and the first of many to come. We also knew of one guest actress who was appearing in this episode. This was Susan Twist, who was said to be playing Mrs. Meridew. Picturing her in this mysterious alien ship honestly asked more questions than it answered, so we are very glad to have seen her cleaning at the house of a certain Isaac Newton. Now that one makes far more sense. Isaac Newton, interestingly, was played by Nathaniel Curtis, who had previously worked with Russell T Davies on It's a Sin. It's always nice to see him reusing faces. The Doctor helping to inspire Isaac Newton's theory of gravity is one of the most on-brand things that the show's ever done. While forcing the gravity of the situation line, perhaps verged on too silly, especially considering how much it was built up. Although now gravity may or may not be called mavity. So that's kinda cool. A lovely and clever cold open to the episode. The TARDIS descends on the mysterious space station with all the expected elegance. Anyway, it gets lodged in the wall as it spits fire and sings an old United States Air Force war song. Just par for the course, with the added bonus of the TARDIS being in a destructive streak. It's amazing how badly a cup of coffee can mess up a time machine that's endured wars over thousands of years. Seeing the Doctor use his sonic screwdriver in the lock of the TARDIS was interesting. It's something we've never really seen the Doctor do before. Although the lock has been removed in past episodes like the Sensorites. We'll just have to chalk this up to the new functionalities of the refurbished sonic screwdriver. It has gotten a massive upgrade, and its abilities at the moment are a little confusing to say the least. Although it does something that Doctor Who hasn't done for far too long. It leaves the Doctor and their companion, in this case Donna, stranded without the TARDIS and the sonic screwdriver. Beyond putting the TARDIS team at the edge of creation, it pushes them to the edge of their abilities. They're forced to rely on their gut instincts, and it creates a level of danger that I've personally been craving from the show for a while. It reminds me of when they destroyed the screwdriver in the 1980s, although this is far more temporary. The Doctor and Donna's chemistry is amazing in this episode, and it is crucial to its success. How well they get along and know each other is critical to them being able to survive. The banter between them in the quiet moments was so perfect. You can see how happy both the Doctor and Donna as well as Tennant and Tate are to be filming Doctor Who together again. Watching them observe flaws in each other and realizing that something's wrong marked what was easily the scariest scene in ages.
My arms are too long.
The not things. The villains of this episode were a big mystery. If a villain had ever appeared in a Doctor Who episode, I can guarantee that somebody guessed that they'd be returning in this episode. Thankfully, no such thing happens. This is the first episode since Can You Hear Me in Series 12 not to feature any returning villain or monster in a run of episodes that has lasted far too long, if you ask me. Originality is very refreshing, and here we get to the Not Things, or the Nothing. They never really gave them a proper name, but the Not Things was used in the subtitles, so let's go with that. They're beings from outside of time and space, with no concept of shape or size or object permanence. While they're trapped on the ship, they're trying to escape and destroy the universe with their hunger for war and destruction. It's certainly an interesting choice. If you ask me, it mostly worked. Having them try to copy the Doctor and Donna led to some genuinely frightening scenes. Not knowing who was real, and when the Not Things finally revealed themselves, it made for generally frightening viewing. This is certainly an episode that is going to scare children for years to come. Showrunner and writer of the episode, Russell T. Davies, wasn't joking when he suggested these episodes weren't for children. I found the whole thing reminiscent of The Thing, the 1982 science fiction movie directed by John Carpenter. It captures the horror atmosphere and tension rather well, with the episode at its best when it sits in a moment and genuinely keeps you guessing. Doctor Who hasn't done horror on this scale since maybe The Waters of Mars. It mines fear that well. Even I got a little freaked out at some points. While we expected the episode to be good, I didn't expect director Tom Kingsley to pull out something so brilliant. While the visual effects may not have captured this as well as some might have liked, what's on show here is very ambitious. Most of the ship looks absolutely gorgeous, with the first exterior shot being genuinely breathtaking. However, you've got to consider that this is Doctor Who we're talking about. It looks good, great even, with the visual effects debatably better done than ever. However, they're still not quite perfect. Those imperfections and goofiness is where Doctor Who absolutely shines, though, and I'm glad that this episode hasn't lost that. I also deeply appreciated the nod towards the timeless child and the Doctor not knowing where they're from. As well as this, the universe also appears to still be half destroyed following the Flux event in Series 13. It was so much more than a "she mentioned Gallifrey" line, which even on its own would have been cool. Considering how each showrunner in the revival has taken the show in their own creative direction, acknowledging what came before, this was genuinely surprising. Given that the Doctor kind of talks about it with Donna at the end, I wonder if this is something Davis will choose to explore further down the line. The ultimate reveal that Fenslaw, Collis, Brait, and so on are a countdown was kind of predictable. Seeing the robot step forward every time that happened made the countdown really obvious by about the second or third number. The robot in question, who doesn't even have a massive screen presence, was actually mostly practical. The alien designs in this new era from the Meep, the Rarth Warriors, and now this robot have looked amazing in not being a mass of special effects. Given the robot's presence in the marketing, from being on the episode's teaser poster and even getting its own character poster, I think we all expected a much bigger role. The fact that they were sitting on the scariest Doctor Who episode in over a decade kept so much of it secret and shared elements like that almost at random was genuinely genius. I hope that they are able to pull that off again, because that was so much fun. The scene at the episode's climax, in which the Doctor uses the TARDIS like a skateboard and has to choose between two Donnas, was genuinely pretty cool. Adding to the 80s movie overload, the skating was very Back to the Future. Having the Doctor choose the wrong one was interesting. Although that resolves itself pretty quickly, Donna had to survive at least into the final episode, so she's certainly not dying here. The final scene of this episode takes the TARDIS back to Camden Market, although perhaps a day or two off schedule. Sylvia, Rose, and Sean are nowhere to be seen. Instead, none other than Wilfred Mott is played by the late Bernard Cribbins is waiting outside. We're so glad to see him again, and are all a little emotional about it. Seeing him reunite with the Doctor was so worth it, and it was so much fun. The episode is actually dedicated to Cribbins' memory following his death in 2022. This is made more emotional by the fact that Bernard Cribbins was not able to film anything else. It's very much a big tease of the third special, with, from what we understand, Neil Patrick Harris's Toymaker is making the human race go mad. People are fighting in the streets and there's fire and explosions everywhere. It's certainly an intriguing setup, with the next episode set to spring right into action. We here at TARDIS Central actually picked up the filming of this scene and identified it as from this special. So it's very nice to see that our observation has proven correct. There's a good chance that the Toymaker's return ties into the Doctor's invocation of superstition at the edge of the universe. At the very least, the little game has to mean something. So just how this will all play out next week is very exciting. It's set to be a fabulous hour of television, and a big one too, as David Tennant's 14th Doctor will regenerate and hand over the TARDIS keys to Ncuti Gatwa. Exciting times ahead. Wild Blue Yonder was a fantastic episode of Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. I personally thought that dedicating the episode to Bernard Cribbins was wonderful. Looking at this episode, I think it does something wonderful. While the main plot is resolved by the end of the episode, we're teased with the giggle. It also leaves us with a fair few questions. For example, who is the alien captain and what was her story? I, for one, would like to explore that more. Perhaps there will be more details in the novelization of Wild Blue Yonder. Overall, a top-quality episode of Doctor Who. It's such a treat to see what is essentially a family show lean so hard into body horror, with some of the strongest outright horror imagery since the Hinchcliffe years in the 1970s. This one really makes me think of Blink, in that it's creepy and wonderful at the same time. Speaking of the episode, I am glad that it was kept secret, as it just added to the bizarre, macabre, wonderful feeling of this episode. If you reach the end of our review, comment Jimbo, aka the robot's name, in the comment section down below. So what did you think of Wild Blue Yonder? Did this episode creep you out? Are you excited for next week's The Giggle and the return of the Toymaker? Let us know. If you want to keep up to date with all the latest Doctor Who news, lore, and more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at TARDIS Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. Or the Whoniverse! That's it from TARDIS Central. I've been Jeremy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.